Ably and gracefully going to the 9th floor. Please put your hands together for Engineer J. Olumaduka. Thank you, ma. Thank you so much. Always honoring us with your presence here. We also have with us the Director General of the Chamber. Put your hands together for Dr. Chinyere Peace Almona, FCA. Thank you, ma. Just to say that when you have a woman with the name Peace leading an organization like this, you experience peace. Once again, put your hands together for the DG. With us also this morning is very capable, the ICT chair, Mr. Shegun Okuneye. On his way is the chair of the Young Business Leaders Group of the Chamber, Abiodun Olaleko, is on his way. When he comes in, you will see him. We have a lot of other speakers here today. So permit me to allow our moderator, who will then bring them up later in the day, Mrs. Roslyn Ilori. Let's recognize Roslyn Ilori. Thank you, ma. Thank you so much. One thing you will know about this chamber is the place we place women. We recognize the fact that women are the mothers of the nation, so they occupy very vital roles here at the chamber. One of the reasons why we have a DG as a woman. Thank you so much, Madam DG, for leading ahead. So we'd like to have the welcome address by the President and Chairman of Council, who is ably represented this morning by his deputy. Put your hands together for the Deputy President, Abimbola Olaniyi Olashore, FCA.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I think, first of all, let me recognize the immediate past president of the chamber, Mr. Gabriel Idausa. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. Honorary Live Vice President, Engineer Mrs. Maduka. Thank you again for being here. Other council or ESCO members that are here. DG, the chairman of the two committees that are responsible for today's program, that is the ICT group and the Young Business Leaders Group. You're all welcome. And I think also for all of us that are here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the topic, when I first saw it, AI, there's nobody that will see AI that will not get very much interested. So clearly, when I see the hall and I see everybody here this morning, it's for us to all interrogate the whole topic of artificial intelligence. So it is indeed a privilege to welcome you to this LCCI AI Summit. And I indeed commend the ICT Group and the Young Business Leaders Group for convening this timely dialogue under the theme, Adopting AI for Your Business, Nigerian Realities and Case Studies. It is a critical conversation about how Nigerian enterprises can translate technological shifts into real economic advantages. Artificial intelligence has become a defining general purpose technology, reshaping productivity, competitiveness, and market structures globally. Nigeria stands out with exceptionally high engagement. About 88% of adults have interacted with AI tools, far above the global average of 62%. Yet, enterprise scale integration remains limited, with only around 1/3 of firms achieving advanced deployment. This gap highlights a key transition point, moving from widespread experimentation to structured enterprise-wide adoption. Moreover, Nigeria's AI market is projected to reach over $430 million by 2026, driven by rapid growth in fintech, logistics, and digital services. This reinforces a key insight. AI is no longer peripheral to the economy. It is becoming a core production input. Encouragingly, AI is already generating measurable impact. In financial services, it is strengthening fraud detection and credit analytics. In retail, it is improving demand forecasting and personalization. In agriculture, it is enabling smarter yield decisions. And in logistics, it is optimizing routing and efficiency. In several targeted applications, AI has delivered up to 50% improvements in process efficiency, demonstrating its capacity to drive transformative, not incremental performance gains. To unlock these benefits, businesses therefore must take a disciplined approach. AI adoption should be case-driven, focused on clear business outcomes. Strong data systems and governance are essential as data quality determines AI effectiveness. Firms must also invest in skills and capability while adopting a phased model, pilot, validate, and scale. Crucially, collaboration across technology providers, startups, and research institutions will accelerate adoption and reduce costs. The LCCI will continue to play a catalytic role by advocating for better infrastructure, reliable power, clear regulatory frameworks, and support for innovation. We will also deepen platforms for knowledge sharing and partnerships. The ICT Group and the Young Business Leaders Group remain central to driving this transformation, representing both technical innovation and the next generation of business leadership. The recently launched LCCI Innovation Hub is also a testament to the Chamber's commitment to supporting startups and SMEs. Artificial is redefining commerce into data-driven, predictive, and highly personalized system. Competitive advantage will therefore depend on how effective businesses deploy intelligence systems rather than on scale or capital alone. For Nigeria, this represents a strategic opportunity to leapfrog constraints and build globally competitive enterprises. The question, therefore, before us is no longer whether to adopt AI, but how quickly and effectively we can translate adoption into productivity and competitiveness. Nigeria has the engagement and the potential. What is required now is execution at scale. I encourage you to engage actively, draw practical insights, and commit to implementation. If we act decisively, artificial intelligence will not only transform our businesses, but also reshape Nigeria's economic future. We look forward to a fruitful seminar. This is by Engineer Leye Kukuli, the President of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, but ably delivered by the Vice Deputy President. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Able Deputy President who has ably delivered the President's remarks at this occasion today. Let me quickly recognize the presence of our lead facilitator today. I'm told he's in the house, Mr. Dotun Adeoye. Can we please put our hands together for Mr. Dotun Adeoye, please? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for showing up. All right, we will have, just before we have Mr. Dotun come to do a live demonstration for us here this morning, let's have, for his opening remarks, he is the host today. Put your hands together for the IC chairman, Mr. Segun Okuneye. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Segun.
Good morning, everyone. The President, Engineer Leye Kupoloye, Deputy President Prince Abimbola Olasore, Director General Dr. Chinwe Amona, Honorable Life President Mrs. Engineer Maduka, Council members, distinguished leaders, our esteemed speakers, members of Lagos Chamber of Commerce, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great honor and privilege to warmly welcome us to this AI Summit. In this inaugural summit, theme, Adopting AI for Our Business, Nigerian Realities and Case Studies. This actually speaks directly to where we are, where we must go. It challenges us to move beyond the global hype around artificial intelligence and focus more on the practical aspect of it, real-world applications within the unique context of our nation. Across the industry, AI is rapidly transforming how businesses operate, enhancing efficiency, improving decision-making, and also unlocking new revenue streams. But here in Nigeria, adoption is not without its realities. We must contend with infrastructure gaps, data availability, regulatory considerations, talent shortages, and need for stronger digital trust frameworks. Yet, within these constraints lies immense opportunities. Nigerian businesses are already demonstrating resilience and ingenuity, leveraging AI in financial services for fraud detection, credit referencing and scoring, in retail for customer insights, demand forecasting, in agriculture, of course, for yield optimization, and in telecoms for network efficiency. These are not abstract ideas. They are real case studies that prove AI is not just for advanced economies. It is for us, and here and now. The key question is not whether we should adopt AI, but how do we do so effectively, responsibly, and sustainably within our own environment. At the Lagos Chamber of Commerce LCI ICT Group, we believe that successful adoption of AI in Nigeria must be guided by these three pillars. Contextual innovation. Solutions must be designed with deep understanding of local challenges and opportunities. Secondly, capacity building. We must invest in developing the digital and analytical skills required to build, develop, and deploy AI systems. Third, collaborative ecosystem. Partnership between governments, private sectors, startups, academia will be essential to scale impact. This summit is actually designed to bring these pillars to life. Through insightful discussions, practical case studies, we aim to bridge the gap between theory and implementation, equipping businesses, both large and small, with knowledge and confidence to begin and accelerate their AI journey. Lagos, as the commercial heartbeat of Nigeria, has a critical role to play. With our vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem, growing digital economy, we have the potential to become a leading hub for applied AI in Africa, driving innovation that is not only globally competitive, but also which is locally relevant. As you participate in today's session, I encourage us all to listen with intent, engage with purpose, think boldly about how AI can transform our organizations. Let this summit be a catalyst, not just idea, but for action. In closing, adopting AI is not a luxury. It is fast becoming a necessity for business resilience and competitiveness. The sooner we embrace it on our own terms, shaped by our realities, the stronger our economy will be. On behalf of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and the ICT Group, I thank you all for your presence and wish you a productive and impactful summit. Thank you.
Once again, please, let's put hands together for Mr. Segun Okunoye. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that charge. On that note, we'd like to move to what is next. While I expect the arrival of the chairperson of the Young Business Leaders Group, I'm told he's on his way, maybe for traffic or something. Please permit me to move to our lead presenter today as he discusses with us AI session as well as live demonstration of what we have. Please put your hands together for Mr. Dotun Adeoye. Please, let's clap for Mr. Dotun so well.
Good morning, everyone. So today we're going to present to you as a team. So I'm here with a team of people, very clever people. We have Dr. Krish, who's going to talk about sovereign cloud and why AI feeds on data, and the data has to sit somewhere. My name is Dotun Adeoye, and I'm one of the co-founders of AI Nigeria. I've been in the world of AI since 2014. I've had the pleasure and experience, and sometimes some not so pleasurable experience of working within AI. But the interesting thing about any technology is that you need to know how to fail and how to succeed. You actually learn more from failure, and I think it's important to be able to share that, usually as a business group. So today the plan is to go through a deck we have prepared, but before that deck, I'm going to bring Dr. Krish to come and speak. The reason why he's coming first is everything we're going to talk about today is about AI. And there's no AI without data, and like I said previously, that data sits somewhere. And as the laws are changing in Nigeria, you need to store, process, obtain data and use it locally. So you could fall foul of the sovereignty laws if you don't do it the right way. So I have with me Adeyinka Aderombi, Adaku Inem, but before the two to run through this presentation, Dr. Krish will come up to talk about the sovereign cloud and why we need to think Nigeria when we are storing data and processing data. So Dr. Krish, thank you.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks, Dotun, thanks for pulling me in onto this. And on a topic where everybody is aware of AI, and even if I go and ask my little one at 4.5 years old, he will say something about AI. That is where we are heading up to. Whether they like to read or write, AI is one of the things. But as the technology grows, there are complexities which also grows, correct? Let's look at the whole magnetic behind this. AI is always highly data sensitive, data driven. And in my own language, in the telecom language, I can say that the low latency is mandate or must. Now, if you look at the current scenarios globally, and let's even see Nigeria, what's happening on the cybersecurity side, getting linked here. So, question remains is that where should our data reside or remain? This is the biggest challenge, and this is the biggest question. If you look at various reports, what is available, Nigeria has more than 83% of Nigerian sovereign data residing outside Nigerian borders. And if you take it on an African level, more than 93% of African data still remains outside. And I don't understand the logic behind this. I agree there are fast movers advantages from so many other global players, and that is bound to happen. But is that the right way? Or is that the way we need to push the whole technology further? We need to ask that question to ourselves first, because we say that data is the new oil and that's a new money. In fact, that is the fact all about. That is oil, because if you're talking about the data for 1.4, 1.5 billion Africans, and there is pretty pretty big, 20% approximately of the global population data, which resides somewhere else, somebody else controls, which we don't have a clue. If somebody pulls the plug out of your Gmail, you are out, including myself. So what exactly we are working on? We are just singing a chorus with somebody else without understanding the meaning of it. That is what exactly is happening. And this cannot be accepted. So, where we go to either NIDA or NDPC, what these guys are trying to teach all of us is that put your data locally. Let's have it. But when we compare the infrastructures what we have in African continent as well as the Western world, of course there's a deficit. We understand it. But all these processes and infrastructure need to start somewhere. Somebody has to build it. If somebody is not building it, we will still find the same excuse. Oh, we don't have it here, so we are using the other part of the site. But is it secured enough? Is it in line with the whole 1.5 billion people's need or what they are aiming for? So these are the things put me and maybe, including Dotton into various thought process for at least 3 to 4 years to come up with this whole sovereign cloud policy and, the framework. Based on that, we deployed UniCloud now around 7 countries in Africa. The thought is that less African data remain in Africa. So can I bring in, out of this 93%, can I bring in at least 15% or 10% of our own data back into the country or back into the respective countries? That is the whole thought process we need to look at. And I understand there's a business perspective, we need to run the businesses. But at the end of the day, we need to think, is our personal balance sheet is more important or the country's sovereignty and integrity is more important? That is where this kind of projects comes up and which is in line with what AI in Nigeria is also working on. To support them, on all the AI frameworks, policies, applications, the data must remain local to have the best output so that, number one, latency is minimal, maybe 10 to 15 milliseconds. Shagun, you can understand what I'm talking about. Then the cybersecurity aspect, I can't say nullified, but I can say minimized. Then the important aspect comes in here is that, let's don't take AI just as a jargon. Tech people, the tech ecosystem who knows tech, understands AI. That is less than 10% of the population. The remaining 90% of the population doesn't understand what is this all about. And those are the user segments. And unless that user segment comes in play, there's no value. Now let's go back into the reality. An auntie sitting in Balugu market may be selling a George fabric. Does she know about AI? Does she know how AI can help her business? No. She knows her chat and or maybe WhatsApp, Instagrams. That's the level we need to get into. That's the grassroots level AI need to get into the user segment. I mean, can we do this all in English? Honestly, I doubt. I mean, that's a terrain, correct? Whether it is in Africa or whether we go back or wherever it is, it's not possible. So that local language need to come in place. People need to understand in their basic own language how to use these things in a productive way so that the whole ecosystem grows. And then they understand all the laws, all the regulations, what we are talking about. Because let's also don't define the tech as a high profile, high table stuff. No, it need to get into the grassroots. And that is where we all come into a play, whether it is UniCloud, AI in Nigeria, the Chamber of Commerce, we all come in together to really handhold that ecosystem of people. And I hope we are able to get it done somewhat and we continue that journey. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Krish. I always find that Dr. Krish is one of those few people who can make cloud computing, data storage and all that very simple. Many, many years ago, the first time I met someone talking about cloud computing and all that, I had to go many times to be drinking water because she was just too geeky. I'm a tech person. Even for me, it was complicated. So thank you. That was straightforward. So what I want to do now is give a bit of insight into what AI in Nigeria is about, who we are, what we've been doing. Then I will invite Adeyinka to kick off the presentations. Then Adaku will come, then I will wrap up. In between all this, we are meant to show you some of the applications we have created, just to kind of show you what AI is in reality. And most times, a lot of people hear about AI. We haven't really seen how it's being used in Nigeria locally. We have a lot of applications, so we are hoping to be able to show you today. All right. So AI in Nigeria, I'm not going to read everything, but AI in Nigeria, we have done a lot of training and a lot of engagement with different companies across different sectors. Banking, insurance, public sector, regulators, different types of organizations we've engaged. The company was started by myself and a gentleman called Ehia Rabo, who's just completed his PhD in AI. We are both long-term technology people, but I've been in tech since '99. He's been in tech for about the same length of time. Been in AI globally, doing different assignments since about 2014 in Europe, in North America and different parts of the world, including Africa and Asia. So we have a bit of experience, and we have very supportive advisors, which Dr. Krish is one of them. He's one of our trustees with our foundation. And AI in Nigeria, in terms of what we have done, we've done a lot of training, engagement. We have communities of practice, which are hubs to be able to sort of evangelize and localize AI. Our tagline is adapting AI for Nigeria, because it's good to kind of rave about the AI technology, but what's in it for Nigeria? And this is one of our driving force to actually localize this. In terms of some of the companies we've engaged with, either for training or for business product development, governance, advisory, transformation, these are some of the companies from across different sectors. Speaking about myself, Yinka is a brother and one of our regular facilitators. He's the head of digital transformation for Rex, but we work together very closely. And Adaku is an expert in AI who has written a book about AI and is quite proficient in AI. So the three of us are looking to do justice to this topic of using AI as a business, looking at the Nigerian realities. So, so I'm going to pass over to Yinka Aderombi to kind of kick off section 1, which is data is the field for AI. Yinka, thank you.
Morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I wanted to start with a story. Yesterday, I was watching the Champions League, Bayern Munich and PSG. I love football. But before I watched the match, I was listening to some pundits, and they said, there is no way in this world that this match will be a low-scoring match. And they were saying with a lot of assurance. And by the time the match ended, it was a 5-4 score. Now, you will have wondered what gave them that level of assurance. Because they have data on both teams. If you have watched both teams, they don't play 0-0. They don't even play 1-1. If you look at their result, the data speaks to purely attacking teams. And if you were to plot that on a graph or do an analysis of that, even without meeting the teams, you will have made the same deductions. Like we say, data does not lie. But it's not about it. Data is the fall for AI. AI is just data with some makeup. You can write that one down, to be sincere. AI is just data with some makeup. What are these makeup? Before I go into slide, just a quick summary introduction. It's just some statistical analysis. If you have done statistics, but just done with the help of faster processor, faster storage, what Doctor just spoke to us, faster cloud, so they can deduce. You know, in those days, you have to use SPSS, use your Excel, and do all this analysis. No. With the technology we have now, we can do it quicker, faster, and that's what AI is. AI is data transformed by insight to take actions. That being said, what is AI in practical terms? As we said, it's intelligence to perform specific tasks. But the way I like to say it is, AI is intelligence democratized. You know, before, when you look at the journeys we've had in industrialization, we've had separate type of industry. We have the Industrial Revolution. We have the electronic age. Now, AI is the age of intelligence. And the critical part is, because it's based on data, its main technology strength is to analyze patterns that applies in this data. It's not magic. It's not the witchcraft from our villages. It's just faster insight deductions from data. Now, every time I lead an IT team, every time someone tries to sell me an AI technology, you know the first way I used to check for the real from the imaginary, the fake from the Yahoo one, I just ask one question. Please, what data set was your AI trained on? Once I ask that question and you don't get an answer, I will advise you to move on. Because without data, there's no insight. Without insight, AI cannot be made to make deductions and get insight. Now, I told you earlier that AI is intelligence democratized. And this is why it's important for Nigerian businesses. Many of the things you used to do manually, thinking about it, planning it, because intelligence has been democratized, you can get AI to do it for you faster, cheaper, quicker, and better. I used to tell my colleagues, I said, AI is a team member. So if you have a team of 5 people, you actually should have a team of 15 people. It's those 5 people plus 3 AI tools they must be using, not they will use. They must be using. And that will improve their efficiency. Because you can't grow your business fast now by just adding more people. You have to use a lot of technology to make it faster. And AI helps you. AI enables faster decision, reduce your costs, and you can even have new revenues. And I want to get a bit practical here. I do IT. I've always done IT all my life. And at times, the biggest job you have to do is just to prove that this IT makes sense. But you are not the first person that is going to have a justification report to write. So when I want to have that report, before it used to take me a day, because I hate to write. Sorry, I'm lazy at it. Now I just put it on my LLM and say, as CDIO of an insurance company in Nigeria, I want to do this project. Give me justification. In 5 minutes, it's done. I've sent it to a team member to jazz it up. I've sent it to my designer, who is using AI to design the presentation. In 15 minutes, something that will have taken us 2 days, we are done. That is efficiency multiplication. You cannot not have that in your businesses. And the good news is your competition is using it. Why won't you? Now, this is important. Like we said, no data, no AI. And this is, I need to take a side story on this. Everybody has data, including you. The question is whether you are tracking it, documenting it, labeling it, and archiving it. That's the only difference. Because you can't be in business and not know how much you sold yesterday. You can't be in business and not know who your top customers are. You can't be in business and not know where your money comes from. I'm sure you guys do that. That's why you are seated here. So you have data. The only problem you have with your data is you don't track it, you don't keep it, you don't label it, it's not structured. Now, AI cannot think independently. They need your data to find patterns to give you that intelligence. Now, if you have data and data is not enough, is not clean, is not put together, any AI you build on that will tell you nonsense. It will predict stupid things to you. The outcome would be totally useless, And you're going to have problem with AI. AI is not your problem. Data is your problem. I once joked with someone, and we're talking about, this is for Dr. by the way, we're talking about AI poisoning. Since I know AI is data, I said I can make Dotsu the governor of his state. I'll just create a 300,000 fake website telling everybody that is the governor coming in on his state. I know those AI in the LLM will crawl the internet and ingest that data. Now, if they ingest stupid data, what would they give you? Stupid insights. And this is where AI can fail. This is where the risk comes. This is where you have things like what we call like hallucination. When you ask AI a question and it's telling you something that even you know that, okay, they've tampered with your brain. So it is because the data is using is not aligned with the context that is in. So what types of data do we have? And this, you know that you have data, like I said. Number one is customer data. Their name, their phone number, their address, the transaction they've done with you, where they live, where they do business. Number two is operational data. And if you run a business that is buying and selling, you have this in plenty. You know where your goods are. You know how many sold yesterday. You have this inventory, supply chain data. We also have financial data, which is your revenue, your cash flow, how much money do you have in the bank, how much was paid in yesterday, how much did you pay out. And lastly, you have your communication data, which is email, logs, chats. And based on what I said, you know that you have data. So that is not the problem. The problem is, are we structuring this data and are you using them? Believe you me, I've had to go through a personal WhatsApp chat recently because I have something that has to do with government with it. And when I went through that chat, I realized that everything I've been doing since 2014, if you read that chart and you give it to an LLM, it can give you a map of my life. I'm sure the same goes for you. So we all have data, we just haven't put structure to it. And this is why data quality determines AI value. And I will be sincere before I leave this place and go through the slide. You can start with basic Excel. Just make sure these data are kept, they are structured, people are entering it into some system. So what are the problems we tend to have? Number one is incomplete data. Your customer's name is Shegun Adeoye, but all you save him with is Shegun. Shegun is different from Shegun Adeoye. Because if Shegun Adeoye is doing an event on social media, which your sales or account officer should be notified of, because you save him as Shegun, your sentiment tool will not pick him up. Number two is bias data. This one is a bit difficult to explain, but I'll give you a good example. This happens a lot in IT. My current team, I have a team of 11 or 12, and they're all men. So if I build an AI with that data to say, I want to hire a new person to my team, you know that AI, if I don't tell it very well, any woman that applies, it will block her. Because the data he has speaks only to men. That's bias. It's not intentional. It's just what is in the data. Number three is data that is out of tune with reality. Things change so fast in the world that in some climate, if your data is 1 month old, it's obsolete. And if you have all these issues, you now have secondary problem. You're going to have biased outcome if your data is biased. You're going to have flawed insight if your data is incomplete. And if your data is outdated, your decision would be totally wrong. So what are the things you must do? You must get your data cleaned up. It's simple. What are the gaps? What should we record that we are not recording? And that speaks to structuring the data. I advise you to structure it first so that you can clean it. Now, once you've done that, now have a process to ensure going forward, there's no gap in the data. And I tell you, I'm currently doing this where I work, and it's painful. Because we're a very old company, and when you start looking at customer data, you will be shocked. You find out that there are 3 of me. One of me is Adeyinka Aderombi. Another of me is Yinka Aderombi. Then there is a third me that is Aderombi. They even had a fourth, Deyinka Aderombi. And as far as the AI is concerned, I may be 4 different people, but I'm one person. As simple as that, not setting up the name correctly. If they do an AI project, instead of seeing 1 of me, they are seeing 4. That's already a flawed insight. So if you want an AI that works, you must have a data that works. Now, whether you buy your AI or you build your AI, it doesn't matter. If I bring you the best technology that the 2 people have, and we put it on wrong data, it's still going to give you wrong insight. If you call Microsoft to build it for you on that wrong data, it's still going to be wrong insight. So, I think this is my bus stop. No, I'm taking this. All right. Now, that being said, you have some actions to take. We all need to go back to our businesses and start asking ourselves the right question. How are we documenting what we are doing in this business? What is our data structure? Because if you don't do that, even if you go and buy any AI from anywhere in the world, it will not work. Because even you at times, you are struggling with the data. And a good check is, to know whether your data is good, is give it to someone that doesn't run your business and say, what do you see? The person will ask you, who is Segun Orioke? Because Segun Orioke is not a name. Segun means the Segun we do business with in Orioke. That's how some of you name your customers. Now, while that being said, remember, I told you that AI is data that has got some swag. Because is intelligence democratized? Intelligence must always come from intelligence. And that's a biological statement. Intelligence always comes from intelligence. Because intelligence always comes from intelligence, you cannot assume that your intelligent AI is intelligent. That's why we are taking this as subtopic, human in the loop. And I like the way the slide structure it. Because your insight from your data is a judgment call. I hope you know that. It's based on data, some statistical analysis is a judgment call. Now, in all judgment call is either right or wrong. What makes it right or wrong are 3 things, or 2. Number 1 is the context. Mind if I say Yoruba proverb here, if you pardon me? The king and the wise man had a fight, and the king said, calabashes are lighter than plates. And the man said, no, calabashes are heavier than plates. And the king asked them to chop off his head. But both are correct. It's just context. Dry calabashes, which is what you use at home, is lighter than plates. But calabash is a seed, is a fruit. The wet version is actually very heavy. It's heavier than plates. So your judgment call is based within a context. Now, if we do not define the context and you make a judgment call, you will be wrong. Number 2 is, even if you are within context, some things are just not acceptable. For example, if you don't bound your AI within some ethical framework, AI can tell you to kill somebody. Up to like 3 years ago, on a couple of major LLMs, people could actually question it on how to commit suicide. They missed that gap. That was an ethical failure. So they had to quickly go back and bound that context. Now, judgment, context, and ethics are human. We handle this better. Now, AI handles better repetitive tasks and data-heavy analysis. But you know, data-heavy analysis give you insight which can lead to a judgment call. So you need to make sure that when AI is giving you those insights, there's still an human being helping to be sure that this judgment call is both contextual and ethical. So AI is a co-pilot. AI should not be treated as an autopilot. Because if you do that, it might make mistakes. I use AI a lot. I'm a student. So occasionally I ask it some schoolwork, and sometimes it will tell me pure nonsense. No offense to it. So I will now change the context. I'll tell you, change the context. If this context is this and this and this and this, what will you have advised? especially when you are doing research on local data. Because most of these AI are trained on American data, EU data. They are not trained within the Nigerian context. So at times I will force and say, look at this context for the Nigerian market and give me the insight. So you are needed to be in the loop for every deployment. Because humans, one more thing you need to remember, we cannot hold AI accountable for decisions. I hope you know that. It's only human beings who can hold accountable for decisions. And that's why human beings must guide AI decisions. You must validate the output. And when it's working on ethically, you have to intervene. For example, AI can flag a transaction as fraudulent, but a human person must validate it. I'll give you a classic example. I've had to give my card, my dollar card, to someone to use online. So let's say I use the card in Lagos now, but I have the missus on vacation in Barcelona. And she says, guy, I need to shop. I just snap my card, she has the PIN. She goes to a shop, and within 30 minutes of each other, the card was used twice. Now, AI will flag it because the distance, even if I'm flying to Barcelona, it's going to take me about 6-7 hours. So how can I use my card in Lagos and flash it at the store in Barcelona? Maybe she has the physical card. I'm just using the online number and code. But the right action, the bank should not block that transaction. What should be done is it should flag a ticket to my account officer, hold the transaction. Then my account officer will call me and say, sir, are you the same person flashing the card in my hand? So no worries, missus. Let the transaction go through. And that is co-piloting it. Number one, you have safeguarded the transaction. So if it's Yahoo Boys, I have my card, I'll just have told you. It's not me, freeze the transaction. You get it? But by putting a man in the middle, the user experience is not at risk. And I've been there because I was actually in Barcelona and my card did not work. And I did not enjoy the experience. So why this matters, as I begin to round up, the regulatory environment requires accountability. I've told you, AI cannot be made accountable for any action. It's only you, your company, and your business. And your liabilities are your liabilities. Data quality is still often inconsistent, so the context and the deductions may not be correct, especially in Nigeria where our data can still be funny. And the context of the local market and the operating environment we work here is not totally aligned with the European ones and the international ones where this is built up. So what can you do? Practical use cases, I'll gloss over this. Customer service, we all know that. You should have, if you are doing a real-time dynamic business, you should have some of chatbot by now that is helping you, because your agent will close, and this can still take some orders, and it's not that expensive to do. For finance, fraud analysis is the easiest and the fastest way to get a good return on investment. The HR, we just did this in the office. Yes, because you get some by CVs at times. Yeah, I can actually help you filter it. Saves your HR people a lot of time. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, so we're going to continue, and now we're speaking on generative versus analytical AI. So I can give this context first of, when a retailer, someone that is running a retail business, is having to deal with customer inquiries, let's say it's coming from WhatsApp or Instagram, and they're also struggling to predict their next month's sales. We can say that one problem there is conversational and the other one is based on calculation. That is the perfect difference between the functions of generative and analytical AI. Now, in Nigeria, when we talk about AI, most people think of the most common, which is generative. We're talking about the GPTs. We're talking about using those. We just ask it some question, it gives us back. But the purpose of this section is for people, especially business owners, to understand the value of both types of AI and maximize their potential effectively. Okay, so first thing here says that analytical AI works with structured data. The people that have come up have spoken a lot about data and its value, and also spoken about structured, emphasis on structured, because what we're saying is that whether it is, for example, the communication data that you're getting from your emails or from your WhatsApp inquiries, if it is not structured, it doesn't have the same value. In that regard, what we're saying is that we're calling that raw data, we're calling it unstructured data. But analytical AI uses structured data in order to function. It finds patterns, trends, and predictions. Examples are fraud detection, demand forecasting, and credit scoring. And then we talk about generative AI. Generative AI works more with text, images. You're using your ChatGPT to communicate, and it's giving you back in the same language that you understand. It is using that kind of data, right? And then it is creating new context. So now we've established that the analytical AI is giving you predictions, or is creating predictions out of the data that you have already given it. But for the generative AI, it is communicating content, it's generating content from what you are communicating to. For example, now we're talking about chatbots, reports generation, creative outputs, and marketing content. So, of course, people do usually use generative AI in places like this. Key differences also for analytical AI, we've already talked about it, analyzing existing data, right? And its focus on prediction and structured databases. Best places to use this are in finance and operation. For generative AI, we already said it's creating new content and focus on generation. Just like the name says, whether it's generating you a new image, or it's generating you a new video, or it's generating you new audio, it's generating you new text, creating reports for you, whatever it is, it's generating new content, and it's best used in marketing and support. Now, one analogy I want to use here is, if you're running a business, usually we know that, yes, there are business owners that like to take on so many different hats. You're the one running your marketing, you're the one running your customer support, you're the one running your finances, you're the one running your operations. Regardless, these are all different business units. But the function of analytical AI and generative AI is not the same in all places. So if a business is using only generative AI and is using it in all aspects, all these different functions, what you're doing essentially is that you're not maximizing the potential AI has to offer for your business, because you're basically using the wrong tools for the wrong cases. So just like this says, it says that analytical AI is best used in finance and operations. If you're using generative AI in those finance and operations, you're not maximizing its potential. In finance, for example, analytical AI is making you predictions, right, for your sales. That is an example. But that's not the same thing that a generative AI would do for you if it was going to function in your finance unit. So analytical AI is basically telling you what will happen, and generative AI is creating you something new. Now, why do businesses need both? Analytical AI will help you improve your decision making and reduce your risk. That is basically the two important things analytical AI will bring for you as a business owner, while generative AI would improve your productivity and customer experience. Now, I do want to emphasize what has already been established concerning data. For analytical AI, if it's going to improve your decision making and reduce risk, it has to work with the data that is essentially good data, the data that is correct and suitable for your business. What happens to a business A or what happens in a retail organization is not what happens in an oil and gas organization. It's always very different, and context is always very important. And for generative AI, it's of course, improving your productivity and your customer experience. On that part, I want to emphasize the need for not having your AI, your generative AI, replace the role, especially with customer experience. We have a lot of situations or scenarios where people use chatbots, for example, and they use it for customer interactions. I don't know if there's anyone here you ever want to inquire from an organization and it is a computer that is addressing you. Usually, anyone here? Yes, right? And usually for me, I find it frustrating, especially when I do have a serious challenge and then the computer is still the one answering me. At some point, for the first level interactions, it's okay, but at some point, I will need someone, a real human, to come and address my challenge. And that is what I need to emphasize in that aspect. Yes, the AI does its job in fizzling out what exactly is necessary at that first level, but then the human comes in and takes over. So it's important as people running businesses to have that balance. So custom chatbots answer customer queries, provide 24/7 service, and reduce your cost when it comes to support. While analytical models, this is in the context, of course, of custom chatbots and analytical models. Analytical models will predict your customer churn, optimize your pricing, and detect fraud. So you can understand that in this context of customer support, there is still a role for analytical AI to play. So it is important that if you're going to, as a business owner, as someone running a business, you're going to invest in AI. Instead of investing just in generative AI, you're investing also in analytical AI, and you're maximizing the full potential so that your effort essentially is not wasted. It's not that you're just throwing in time, effort, money into generative AI, and then the value that analytical AI could bring you in terms of reducing your risk and improving your decision is not being met. Now, a common misconception is that organizations would usually equate AI with chatbots, but that's not where it stops. That's not where it stops. It's not just about the chatbots that will answer, not just the ones that are for customer inquiries, even the ones that you're interacting with, your GPTs and co. Chatbots are the most visible use case because it is what is common and it is more easier applied. But the real financial value comes in when you are applying or implementing analytical AI, which would help you also to understand that, yes, we've established that a lot of business owners carry on different hats. You are taking on so many hats, so many aspects. I know there was a time I was running, it got so bad in my emails, I would use different signatures when I'm signing the email as the one running operations or the one running customer support, just because you're taking on different hats, and that is very understandable. But when it comes to investing in analytical AI, it's important that you bring in the people that can take on that role and take on that role effectively to be able to get your real financial value. So the question is, are you investing in visibility or are you investing in value? In summary, AI just has, like it has been said by the people before me, that it depends on data quality and not availability. AI works best as a co-pilot and not a replacement. And your business needs both. It needs both analytical AI and generative AI. Analytical AI for your decisions and generative AI for execution. Just like in our organization, you know, we have the people in the back office, the people that are not usually front-facing, the people that are not usually dealing with customers. It's the same way if you have AI working in your organization, there's the AI that will be front-facing and the AI that is running the engine room. It's very, very important to understand. So the final takeaway here for you would be AI is not a technology project. It is a business transformation tool. Thank you.
Well, time runs very fast and very quickly when you're having fun. So I'm going to take the next session. And the next session is basically to look at ethics and governance. And before I kind of go through this, I want to say I will liaise with the chair of the ICT committee to potentially share this, because I will skim through it very quickly, but I'm going to tell a few stories as I go through it because I'm aware of time challenges. I will kick this off by just showing this. This was meant to be at the beginning, but I want to use this to make us understand governance. So it's been said in many places, I don't know if you've seen it, but that AI is the fourth industrial revolution. So we started from steam-based engine to when we got to sort of electricity, then we went to computer and the internet. Now we have AI, and which one of the key characteristics of GPTs or general purpose technologies is you don't need to like it. It's like electricity now. You don't need to like electricity, for your work, for your life, for anything. We need to have electricity now. You can say, okay, I like the environment, I like nature, whatever, and switch off electricity. When it's nighttime, you'll be in darkness. The same thing with steam engine technology. Most of things with manufacturing, cars, trains, it still rides on that technology. And when you think about when computers came, I remember back in the days we used to have typists, when you are doing your project at university, you have all these typists, you go and give to them. And then computers started coming. I was privileged to attend the only university in Nigeria, OAU, Great Ife. So, there's Ife and the others. So you may not agree, but, I was privileged. So basically, I remember we went to computer center, we were queuing up, to get Hotmail address, and we're all getting excited. We're going to have email address. And you will know when you see those emails. You put your name, your date of birth, or you say, the ladies will put something that starts with S. I don't want to say it here, it's a business forum. S, Ronke, you know what it is. But this thing evolves. And the reason why I'm going into this is that when AI started, which by the way, it's a very interesting question, by show of hands, who can tell me here the first time we had advent of AI? The very first record of AI. Anybody want to be brave? Just shout it out. Any answer is good enough. There are very clever people here. This is not jam question. Okay, so I will pick on a very erudite scholar, Yinka, here to tell us the first time the word artificial intelligence was mentioned. 1956, as that conference, that summer conference where you had all these geeks come together and say machines should be able to think like humans. And if you think about how it evolved from then, it was just kind of looking at, okay, how can we simulate human thinking to be like machine thinking to be like human thinking. And by the way, in the 1930s, there was a record of a natural language processing that happened in 1930s. And also, I live somewhere in the UK called MK, Milton Keynes, and basically Bletchley is close there. So if you know the code breakers, so the Second World War was won by the code breakers because they were able to use machine learning to break the code of the Germans and understand what they were passing. So when I go to places and I ask, when did AI start? It's usually similar. Nobody wants to blot it out. And some younger people will say, it was in 2022. You don't blame them. That's when ChatGPT started. So, but there's been a lot of development. And this is just to kind of paint a picture of what has happened. I'm going to, come here. We know that other bit. Have you ever heard the word shadow AI? Anybody? Apart from Yinka and maybe Adaku and a few scholars in AI. So shadow AI is that thing that, like the name implies, if you run a business, if you have children, there's shadow AI. Even yourself, to an extent, sometimes you are using AI and you don't know. If you use YouTube, if you use Netflix, it's not shadow AI, but I'm just trying to bring it home. But shadow AI really is when you run a business or you're in a company and your staff are using AI tools that are not governed, that are not regulated, you don't have policy for. Most companies will have a media policy, right? You have an HR policy, you have an IT policy, but how many companies actually have AI policies? sometimes you have some of these companies that will say, oh, we have an AI policy. I mean, we started a consultancy project with a media company, very popular TV station is one of their product or platforms. And they told us that they have an AI policy. Oh, interesting, can you share it? And it was 1.5 pages. And I told them, given that people watch your platform in Europe, in the US, in different parts of the world, you've not even started. Try. I told them that you need to go beyond this. And the interesting thing is that a lot of companies, a lot of organizations don't understand this shadow risk problem. And it's the fact that just imagine you are a legal company, you are one of the regulated company. Accountancy, I know that there are a few FCAs, in the room, so I have to be careful going into the accounting terrain. But imagine you run an accountancy firm, you run an engineering firm, a medical practice, a financial service business. You have regulators, right? And then you now have some of these very excited staff members who are using tools to quickly make things happen. They put your PDFs, your report, recording from Zoom and Teams. They upload it into ChatGPT, quickly summarize for me. But you didn't sign it off that they could be doing that. They even use other things like DeepSeek because it's quick, it's fast, it's cheap. That is shadow AI. Increases a lot of regulatory risk. And it's easy, it's quick, it's easy to use. But basically, one of the things that happen with shadow AI is you are leaking your data to places you don't want it to go. If you are using DeepSeek as an example, not that I'm knocking it, or you are using ChatGPT, or you are using Gemini, they all have their storage and repository in different countries where different laws govern it. And you may be in contravention of the Nigeria Data Protection Commission's rules because you are storing and processing data without you knowing it, which your staff members are doing. So there is a great risk there. I'm going to flip very quickly to some of the fines that has happened. Recently, in the past, we used to say that the sheriff for data protection in Nigeria, they are toothless bulldogs, but not anymore. They are seriously biting, and they are motivated to generate revenue for the government. So when you are non-compliant, where shadow AI puts you at a huge risk of that, you could be fined up to 10 million or 2% of your gross revenue. We have a pay-per-view company that's been fined almost 800 million naira. There was a tier 1 bank that was fined almost 600 million. A global social media company with a blue color as their logo was fined about $32 million because they happened to come out of the US. And when you think of it, just like Dr. Krish said before, one of the reasons why we now need to start thinking about sovereign AI is where you store data, where you process data, and how you use data has to be governed locally. Things have to be stored locally. And it's one of the biggest challenges when it comes to data governance and when it comes to AI governance. Because when you think of it, all of us, we have so much data. If you look at your WhatsApp as an example, most people use WhatsApp. If you don't use WhatsApp, you send text messages. If you don't send text messages, you write, right? One way or the other, we are processing data. And I always like to use the analogy of my partner here. He will say that the human brain operates like AI. And when you think of it, it's where you come here. Well, I use myself as an example. When I came in here, I asked one of the people here, I said, oh, it's a bit hot. Can we have the AC on? What made me feel that is that my brain has some things in there that told me that this room is hot because I know the feeling of heat and cold. I shuttle between here and the UK, so when I'm there, the way I dress, as you can imagine, it will be different. And I was telling someone that one of the reasons I dress like this is that normally I wouldn't have the opportunity of dressing like this more than 4 weeks of the year, if that, because you know what they say about English weather. The reality is that when you go to the West, immediately, in fact, when you are packing, You know, Yinka was mentioning Barcelona. You won't pack t-shirt and shorts unless it's summer. And also, if you're going to Dubai, you won't pack winter jackets when you know it's going to be 50 degrees. So your brain has data that certain places, even beyond what you have read, what you know, you are used to it. And when you get there, places you have gone regularly, you just find out your body adapts after a few days. So the human brain works like AI. And also the other most extreme bit is how we react as a man or woman to the opposite sex. When you see someone who is your family member or not your family member, your brain tells you something differently. Go or no go. Your brain tells you. And it's all about data. Now, the interesting thing is that the data that organizations are collecting, the way you use it, the sheriff, they are seriously biting now. And it's important to understand that as exciting as AI is, it could get you in a lot of trouble in terms of fines, in terms of reputation damage, and these are things that you need to think about. So I want to go to the 3 pillars. So one of the key things we are looking at, for every entity, you need to do a bit of analysis. You need to understand where you are, because unless you have an expertise within your business, most of the time, so I think in the opening speech, there was the mention of 83% of Nigerians are engaging with AI. That is exciting. But that also tells me from a governance lens that there's a lot of work to do, because that 83%, if we now take it into the enterprise or into the business arena, how many of them are actually breaking the law or working within the law? So how are you using data? What are the exposure? Then you need to begin to think about the governance framework. What are the tools that are approved that your staff members can use or you can use? Because even you as the business owner, as the guy at the top, you might be doing something that you're excited about, this AI that maybe a colleague has given you, your children, a family member, you saw it somewhere online. I used this AI and it made pop-up for me. Like, we see all this AI now. But the reality is that the excitement is different from the reality most times. You need to ensure that you are not breaking any law. How do you control the risk? What are the guardrails? That's one of the words. Like Yinka was saying that AI is data with makeup. So this one as well, if you haven't heard it before, guardrails, AI guardrails, I think you should kind of look into it because it keeps you out of trouble. And the thing is that once you have a framework, you need to have a governance committee. You need to have a cross-section of stakeholders from your business. And I want to put this out. A lot of companies see AI as a technology thing. It's a business thing because AI solves business problems. So it's not an IT thing, and there are few roles coming up now in AI, and one of them is Chief AI Officer. And one of the things that's been written is that the best Chief AI Officer of the future will come from business background, not technology background, because it's a business transformational technology. It's not a techie thing. So it's important to understand that. So having a governance committee that is cross-functional, where you have representatives from different teams, cybersecurity, business units, HR, risk, legal, IT, all the different groups coming together and having ideally a business person be the governance committee chair, because that person will look at it from a business lens. We have an experience where an HR lead is governing that governance committee, and it's working quite well, because if it's an IT person, the person will look at it from a sort of IT lens. So I want to sort of share this case study, and I just call it a Nigerian bank, and Adaku was talking about generative versus predictive AI. So that picture was made by AI. That's not the logo of any bank in Nigeria, but it was just basically to anonymize the actual bank based on data protection and sort of some NDAs. So the bank wanted to have responsible AI rolled out across the organization. That was the ask. and basically brought us in to sort of look at, okay, how can you, via something we call the Fractional Chief AI Officer as a service, to come and set up an AI Center of Excellence, set up AI Ethics and Governance Committee to be able to ensure that it keeps them out of trouble with NDPC, which is the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, keeps them out of trouble with CBN, keeps them out of trouble with all the regulatory bodies, and even internationally to ensure that they keep to the right beats. So we went in there, and it's a 12-month journey, which we're coming to the end of it, where basically we went and we looked at, interestingly, when we got in there, they had almost 300 AI requests. There were so many exciting things they wanted to do. But when we went in and when we sort of, set up the governance and sort of governing how even the requests are coming through, 278 went down to under 70. Because a lot of them were wishes and they were not realistic vis-a-vis the regulatory landscape and also the capacity internally in terms of even if we built it for them, when we hand it over to them, within the time that we'll do it, will they be able to deliver and sort of be managing it? First and foremost, one of the first things we did was to set up an AI Center of Excellence, and that AI Center of Excellence was a cross-functional team. And what that means is that we brought unit heads and some key stakeholders from different teams. And then we have this AI Center of Excellence. And the whole idea of it is to kind of get them to be onboarded into understanding how to manage AI responsibly, how to adopt it responsibly, how to roll it out responsibly. The next thing was to set up the governance committee, where we had a committee, like I said before, being headed by an HR person, which had different people, different unit heads, and they are responsible for go or no go, or kind of approving or not approving AI initiatives. And one of the things that is like the almighty sort of framework was the ethics and governance framework. And what that is a document that captures all the different operations of the organization. And why this is important is that as an organization, when you go into the realm of AI, it's very exciting, but it's a general purpose technology. It's like electricity. It's exciting, but it can also kill you. So AI can financially or reputationally kill your business, or on the other way, it can become, a springboard where your business will go in leaps and bounds. It depends on which way you want to go. So by having an ethics and governance framework, it gives you that document that is like your AI, SOP that governs everything. And we did this. And now what that has been able to do for the bank is that we are able to give them a tool that, irrespective of the AI literacy level of any staff of the bank, they are able to be governed by this. There are, what are the baseline benchmarks? How do you go about this? What are the rules? What are the policies? So it's very clear. You can't say, oh, sorry, they didn't tell me, or I didn't know. No, the framework is there. So that makes it very clear to the bank, and it keeps them out of trouble. And one interesting thing that has happened while we were going through this process, CBN, by June 10 this year, there is an AML thing for AI, I think AML KYC, where you need to use AI. So even the regulators beyond the data regulator, even CBN now, they are beginning to go through this. And the interesting thing is that, yes, it's CBN now. You begin to find out the regulators, ICANN, COREN, NMA, and different regulators will begin to have their own AI policy, because the realization of AI being able to make or break any organization is becoming larger. And the regulatory bodies will begin to take more attention, pay more attention towards this. So the key takeaway here, as I'm wrapping up, is that AI is not an IT thing. There are loads of things I've skipped, but I kind of wrote out 4 things I wanted to talk about. AI is a business endeavor. And when you are setting up AI, either buying an AI tool, either rolling it out, either just speaking and sort of engaging with vendors, ensure that you have representatives from different business units. And I'll repeat again because this is important. It is not an IT thing. Yes, it relates to IT, is an technology that rides on data and all that. So yeah, you could think it's IT, but it's not IT. Ensure that all the stakeholders, buy into it from across the board. So that is AI in Nigeria. We are on the internet. AI in Nigeria is AI in Nigeria. Let me just kind of wrap up with this about AI in Nigeria. And we have different things that we do. We have the foundation that does events and communities across Nigeria. We also have the limited company that does consultancy. So you can talk to us. But one thing I've brought here is a QR code, and the whole essence of it is, if you are curious about this governance, you want to sort of have a, complimentary session to kind of look at where you are in your governance, you can snap the QR code to just basically do a gap analysis to know whether you are in trouble or you are heading for trouble or you are doing well. So if you scan this QR code, we'll be able to tell you, because we are not theoretically talking about AI. We are doing it, and this is what we do. Like I always tell people, we don't do cybersecurity, we don't do web development, we do AI. That's the only thing we do, and that's our uniqueness. We don't do any other thing. We are AI in Nigeria. We are adapting AI for Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Please, I expect that we clap more for Mr. Dotun Adeoye and his wonderful team. Thank you so much for all that you do. I'm told that the tea break is suspended. I'm sure it's not a bad news for us. So you remember that I moved to Mr. Dotun Adeoye while we were supposed to have Mr. Abiodun Olawale Cole. Please put your hands together as we have Mr. Abiodun Olawale Cole with us. Let him come up for his opening, for his remarks. He's no longer opening now. Put your hands together for Mr. Abiodun. He is the chair of the Young Business Leaders Group here at SCCL. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. As he rightly said, I'm Abiodun Olawale Cole, the chairman for the Young Business Leaders Group. I guess the reason why I'm being asked to make a speech is because when I saw about this event from Mr. Shegun, I was like, there's no way. I'm a big supporter of AI. I have to get behind the event. That's the reason why I'm out here speaking. But if I speak, I guess, on my own self, my own behalf, in terms of a user of AI, I will say it makes life a lot easier for me, because not trying to brag, but I'm basically chairman of this YBLG. I'm chairman for the Nigerian Rugby League team, chairman for my Rotary Club, chairman for this, chairman for that. And when you're chairman for a lot of very, very important positions, you can't afford to drop the ball. You cannot get an employee secretary to follow you everywhere you go to. So the way I see AI is that AI is like my very, very smart personal assistant that helps me to get a lot more things done in a lot faster time than I would have done normally. Because I come from a research background, where I used to mine data for a living. I'm now working in insurance, similar to my colleague from Rex. And I'm happy a lot of things he said, because in my own company now as a broker, we're using AI to make life a lot faster, a lot easier, even to argue with underwriters about why clients should get more than they're saying they should get, using AI to analyze things. When I look at doing proposals, things that I would normally have to pay someone to do all these fancy looking PDFs with nice pictures and profiles, I do it myself using Claude. When I look at, there's a colleague here of mine called Maxwell. I was at one of the trainings he was doing recently, and I was listening to Gert about how he makes websites himself. I have a software in my office that we're paying like 120,000 naira a month for. My staff struggle to adopt that software. What have I done? I use Lovable to build my own simple version, right? I'm not paying for, I'm paying $20 a month, which I use for a lot of other things as well. I'm able to create a system that can give me the reports I wanted that I couldn't get before. Because as you rightly said, garbage in, garbage out. And my team didn't know how to, they don't like having to build because the software we're paying for, you have to literally build like a whole universe. Every single thing has to enter it, which makes my people sometimes feel like, we don't need to do this normally now. Why are we putting the client's date of birth, all this kind of thing? So the one I've built is just simple. It gives us what we need from an insurance point of view. NICOM regulated stuff, and we get it done a lot faster than before. When I look at even things like our training systems now, we also have a training company as well. What that allows us to now do is that instead of having to subscribe to apps or software or websites that you can do things like gamification, quizzes. Guess what? I built my own quiz systems now. We had a training for my team last week on. It was a training I just designed called, what you say, how you say, and when you say it. I went on Claude. I gave it some situations based on my team's experience. Maybe when they say the wrong thing at the wrong time. And I used that to create a whole fantastic 3-hour training document, which I took the team through. The team loved it. At the end of the training session, what did I do? I went on Lovable, created like a 20-minute questionnaire that gives you a certificate at the end of the thing as well, just to assess how well they received the training content that we gave them. So I guess for me, the simple truth is this: AI is not going anywhere anytime soon. I think the sooner that businesses embrace it ethically, as the speakers have rightly said, the faster you can fast track your business's growth. Makes life easier for you. And again, it's not a case of replacing human beings, but ensure that your team that you have are also able to use AI appropriately as well, is what I always recommend. And for me, I think Nigeria will be in a very fantastic place when every single company is actually paying for an AI subscription for their business. Because the things you can use for free. And when you're paying the $20, the $10, the £10, whatever it is every month, I'm sure some of us here can confirm you can move mountains versus moving small ant mountains. When I move a whole mountain, I move a small ant hill. For me, when I'm using the free AI versions, I'm moving a small ant hill. When I'm paying the premium version, I can move a whole mountain with it overnight. So I think, like I said, I'm only here because I love what they're doing with this event, and I'm happy to support it because I know AI has made life a lot easier for me. I'm able to do a lot of things for clients that I will not be charging for. I do it for free. Why? I can use AI to do it. They don't know any better, but at the end of the day, I'm giving them free surveys, free reports, free analysis that will be costing me millions of naira to charge people in the past before. So in a simple nutshell, again, like I said, AI is here to stay. And you're all here for it because I'm sure you all believe in AI as well. But one thing is for sure, we all need to embrace it ethically, effectively, and make sure we empower people in our offices to also become power users of the various tools as well. Thank you very much for listening to my welcome/in-between address. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Abiodun Olale Cole, for that speech, which I believe was from your heart without any note. Thank you so much. So we would like to move to the panel session, as you agree with me that the demonstration session or the session we just had, very, very enriching. I like to promise that this panel session to be moderated by Mrs. Roslyn Ilori promises to be very engaging as well, as much as we can listen and pen down our questions for the session that will follow, Q&A. Please put your hands together for the moderator, Mrs. Roslyn Ilori. She has a panelists, about 4 of them. She will bring them up, engage with them in the next 40 minutes. Thereafter, we will handle some question and answer. Once again, Mrs. Ilori Roslyn as the moderator.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. This is a panel session. We have to be very interactive. My name is Roslyn Ilori, and I'm very happy to be here this morning. So I'm going to be calling up the panelists. I will start, they said ladies first. I'm going to start with Mrs. Adaku Inem. Please, let's encourage her as she comes. Thank you very much. Mr. Adeyinka Aderombi. Please, let's encourage them. You're welcome. Dr. Krishna Raganath. Please forgive me if I did not pronounce the name correctly. Dr. Krish, Thank you. And lastly, but not the least, Mr. Maxwell Ado. Is Dr. Chris still around? Okay. Please, can we move closer since it's not going to be around. Please encourage us now. Thank you. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Dr. Krush is not here, but we have Mr. Dotun Adeoye that is going to be standing up for him. So we have a full panel session. Thank you once again. We are going to have a very interactive session this morning. We have heard so much this morning. AI is not a technology thing. It's not a technology tool. It's a business tool. And you know, in the past few years, at some point at the beginning, AI was more like a buzzword. Everybody was talking about AI. I know about a year ago, somebody said, no, me, I'm not going to use AI. I just looked at her and said, you don't understand what you are saying. It's like electricity. It either electrifies or it electrocutes your business. So how are you using AI this morning? Is it electrifying your business or is it electrocuting it? So, to the panel, let's get started. In your own, we're going to look at different business cases from insurance to product development to other areas. So where do you think Nigeria stands today, Nigerian businesses? Okay, where do you think we start today? Let's start with you, Mr. Adeoye. What do you think, where do you think we are in reality? We have moved from the buzzword, but do you think we are just adopting AI blindly, or we are using it, we're actually realistically using it the way we ought? How will you put Nigerian businesses?
So this is not something we can generalize. It's industry specific, is context specific, is organizational specific. We have the leaders who are really trailblazing with AI, and they are moving really fast. We have the people who are already adopting. We have the people who are planning to adopt, and we have people that they've not done anything. The current is just passing them by. And an organization can fall into any of these four buckets. I think the critical challenge is knowing what your industry is becoming and knowing how you need to adapt to still be in that industry. And I think some of the things that I was talking about AI readiness. So I'll actually for advice on have a clear business strategy. Because a lot of people don't have a clear business strategy. If you define your strategy, this will come up in that strategy. If you do a 5-year strategy document, it will come up. Now, take that 5-year strategy document. That's why it's a business solution, not an IT solution. Take that strategy document and say, what are the AI components of it? Then bring out the AI strategy out of it. Then you cannot go and call Dotun and do an AI assessment so you know where you are, what are the gaps, and what you need to do. The biggest challenge is, for me now, is a lot of organizations are flowing with the buzzwords. So they think because you have a chat tool, you're using LLM now, you are doing AI, you are just consuming AI services. You haven't done anything. I don't know if my colleagues want to add.
Okay, does anybody want to just add quickly? We have to manage our time very well.
So I'll quickly add to that. We do the AI landscape report, which we look at Nigeria, how AI is happening. And one of the things we found out is that a lot of small businesses especially think that by interacting with AI, they are using AI. There is a difference between information and knowledge. So a lot of us now, we have AI, information. But in terms of the knowledge, so embedding what AI can do for the business, it's, you can't, so I always use the analogy of a car. You can read so much about a car. Until you learn to drive it, you don't know how to drive a car. You can watch it. You can watch all the wikis about a car, but you will not drive a car until you learn to do it.
But then to learn to drive that car, you don't learn it watching a video. Maybe you may think it will happen, but you won't understand how to avoid accidents. So that's why you need experts. So small businesses, big businesses, different levels of businesses need to interact with AI, but you need expert guidance. And because of ChatGPT, people think you can just ChatGPT it and do it. I want to put that out that you still need expert guidance, irrespective.
Thank you very much. I'm going to come to you, Adako. Dr. Doctun touched on something, the small businesses. So the fact that I'm using ChatGPT to do whatever doesn't mean I'm actually adopting AI. So what does that mean for that business in Akpongbo? That business that is doing one or two other things? How realistically, from a product standpoint, from product's point of view, what do you think small businesses can do? How can they realistically adopt so that we can move from this buzzword to actually adopting AI the way we ought as small businesses?
Okay, first, let me correct. I think you had called me Mrs. I mean, Miss, thank you.
Please forgive me.
All right. I would also want to say, I think he already touched that a bit. He said there's the first thing about your business strategy. And we see that in Nigeria, in Africa as a whole, we have a lot. Most of our businesses are SMEs, right? So it's very easy for someone to wake up one day and say, okay, I'm going to start a business. But that doesn't mean they know how to run a business or what it would take in terms of even its strategy. So then you have the issue of not understanding what it really requires. When you now bring the AI into context, if you already didn't understand what the business required, how would it be for you to adopt AI as a tool in transforming or improving your business? So there's already an existing gap. So what I would say for people, now I'm not speaking for those that don't even know how the business works in the first place. I'm speaking for those that do or are trying to. What I would say is first sitting down to really understand your stage and your need. Your stage and your need so that you're not applying what works for person A and what works for you. We know in Nigeria, especially those small businesses that run on TikTok, everyone is just hopping on a trend. If they're all dancing left, they're all dancing left. They're all dancing right, they're all dancing right. But that doesn't mean that's what works for you. That does not mean that that's what your customer market is saying. That does not mean, because why would I have customers telling me for 3 months that, oh, they don't like how my product bends this way. And yet I'm applying things that applies for someone else that their product bends the other way. It doesn't work, right? So a lot of times we have to make things, personalize it to your situation, personalize it to your market, because it's really important, especially for small businesses, what your customers are saying is really important. So that is what I would say for them being able to apply AI into their business process as SMEs. And I would add to understand what you're applying. I know I touched on generative and analytical AI, right? We also mentioned that by using ChatGPT, you're only just interacting with it, right? You're just using it to answer. And there's nothing wrong with that at that level. And SMEs also would use that at a certain level. But trying to understand it is that you're trying to understand the function or the maximum potential that AI can offer you at that stage of your business, so that you can effect it properly, so that you're not just saying that, oh, you're going to use ChatGPT to be able to generate the kind of answers I'm going to give to my customers, but then it doesn't exactly apply to you in that context. So in the end, it still boils down to personalizing your situation. Yeah.
Thank you very much. One thing I've heard from both Mr. You want to say something?
For the SME, quickly, the most important thing to start is everything you do in your business should be documented. The charts, the transactions. Don't run a business that nobody knows what happened last week. That's the biggest problem I've seen with MSMEs. They are really terrible with keeping data, because at times they are solo entrepreneurs. They don't even know how much income came last week. They don't know what is top selling last week, what is top 10 this week. You have to have a structure that you keep the data, the charts, the sales order, the inventories. You just must. And it's not just because of AI. Even if you want to go to a bank to collect a loan, keeping this data really gives you an edge. And if you want to use any insight-based tool, keeping this data will give you an edge.
Thank you very much. Sorry, one second. Okay, go on.
Okay, so let me just add to what he said. A lot of MSMEs, they don't keep enough data. And I think awareness is going to play a very major role, right? Because like you said, the woman in a pombo, for example, or the man from the east who is selling his clothes at CMS, or the lady at the Tejo Show Market, a lot of them have just heard about AI. But they don't really know what it can do for them, one. Two, they don't understand that they also need to keep data from their businesses to be able to leverage these things better and others. I think a lot of awareness would go a very long way in ensuring that they understand these key things and are able to ride on what my fellow speakers have said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So data. You know, a lot has been said about, there's no AI without data. I think there's a fancy way you put it, that data is, AI is data with some very nice swag and makeup. Without data, there's no AI. So please, if we have SMA, people running SMEs in the room, it is very important that you keep every single data. One thing that Ms. Adako and Mr. Aderumbi had said is you have to be specific. This cannot be copy and paste. I cannot say this is how she's running her business. I'm going to use AI the same way. It has to be very specific. He was talking about being specific about the industry. She had mentioned about being specific about your own business. We may both be running the same fashion business, but what applies to us is different. So please, let's take a very good note of that. I'm going to come to you, Mr. Maxwell, taking it from the point view of data. I think I saw somewhere every day, globally, we send about 23 billion text messages globally, 23 billion daily, and we all contribute to that. I think there are about 349 or so billion emails that go on daily. There are so many data we are feeding, you know, all these different tools, different AI tools with. So, what do you think businesses can do when it comes to, so now I'm a small business, I'm keeping my data, you know, everything you have said today, we are taking that. How can they ensure that the right data is put there? And I'm going to put this in two ways. One is, you know, you spoke a lot about hallucination, getting the wrong insight and all of that. So when businesses are making decisions about the tools, the AI tools that they will use. By the way, please, ChatGPT is not the same thing as AI. Some people, once they hear AI, is equal to ChatGPT. So please, it's a lot more than that. Okay? ChatGPT is a kind of AI, it's not really the entire AI. So the question now is, so as a business, where do I even start from? Okay, yes, you say I should keep my data, I've kept it. Where do I start from? Why I'm asking that question is, what we see, and I'm going to come back to Mr. Dotun to look at that. Are we really developing these tools, or we are just importing it like we import, you know, different softwares and tools? But so my question to you is, as a business, I've kept my data. Where do I start? What next can I do?
Okay, thank you very much. Like it has been said, an AI policy is critical. There has to be a business strategy in place. And once business owners are aware about these things, then they are also aware about how to ethically use AI, right, to solve business problems. Now, at that point, it gets to where we begin to talk about what tool to use. Now, like you rightly said, when people think of AI, they think of ChatGPT. Now, there are a lot of them out there, right? And they are all good for various things. So, big mistake a lot of people make, and I talk about this whenever I facilitate sessions on AI. They use ChatGPT for almost everything, right? Now, I'm not marketing for any company. I'm just going to talk about a couple of tools, right? There is Claude that does some amazing stuff, like Mr. Cole said. We have Gamma. So when you want to do your thinking and brainstorming, right? GPT is a nice guy. ChatGPT is a great guy to use. When you want to do some extensive writing, then you must think about Claude, right? And the other tool. So I'll share this story with you, and I'll wrap it up with one or two things. So I had this client, because we work on software applications, and I had this client who is not Nigeria. He wanted to roll out this software application, and he was waiting for investors to send him some money. He wanted to raise some funds through pitch deck. Now, by the way, investors don't fund pitch deck these days, right? In the tech space, they fund an MVP, right? That has proven traction, you know. And he didn't get the funds, and he was like, "Maxwell, how do we do this?" And guess what? At least to build an MVP, AI came to the rescue, right? And we're able to get something that can be showcased and that has proven traction, right? To go back and say, look, we tried this idea with this, and by the way, the MVP was built with about maybe 10% or 5% of what it would have cost him, right? To just show the idea. So there are a lot of AI tools out there, but then once you have an AI policy to know the right ones to use, you can govern how you're going to use it, and then you're also aware about, okay, how to use them, and there's a strategy in place to structure and a governance thing and ethics to ensure that AI is being used properly and the right tools are being used, and then some kind of education about when to use what tool, then these business owners just need to know what data to keep. For example, you're training a chatbot, you have to be detailed. There are some questions you need to provide chatbot to train it so it knows how to respond. And all these things would help business owners understand, oh, this is what this tool can do, this is what this tool can do, this what information I should keep, so that when somebody comes, like he said, to my company to consult for me and help me leverage AI properly, I need to provide him with this. Once they are aware, they'll keep the right data, because trust me, and it's not just a Nigerian problem, it's across Africa, because I do a couple of things across Africa, and it's an African problem. And trust me, it's critical, particularly among MSMEs, you know. So I think that way, business owners will understand how to leverage AI and get the best from it. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. So I hear you. So as a business, as a small, whether a small business or even a bigger business, so the first place is to look at what is our AI policy. If we don't have one, can approach AI in Nigeria, you know, to assist with that. So that you can look at what are the need analysis, what do I even require? It's not a copy and paste thing. It has to be unique to every single organization. So, you want to say something?
Okay, so I think part of your question also was having to help the small businesses understand how to gather the data in the first place. So for SA, sorry, come again.
What tools should they be using? So now I have my data. Yes, I want to adopt AI. What tools should I be using? What's the next thing for me, really?
Okay, no problem.
Thank you very much. Sorry, because of time, we have to really manage, and there's a whole lot that we have to cover, you know, so please permit
2 minutes. So first thing first, I mentioned that AI is a business thing, it's not an IT thing. So we should not be looking at, yes, I agree with Mr. Maxwell that, yes, it's important to have AI policy. But before you get to the policy, what is the purpose of your business? Are you in business to bake bread? Are you in business to generate, kind of manage waste? You know, accountancy firm, medical firm. You can start by thinking about when you have a business and we don't have AI, how will you run the business? AI can then begin to help you connect the silos, connect the dot. So this is where ChatGPT or even Meta AI, with your WhatsApp, is good. And there's one big thing we all need to sort of understand. It's called prompt engineering. And believe me, it has nothing to do with engineering. It's just you need to know how to talk to AI chatbots. So once you understand that, and then if you don't understand prompt engineering, you can ask tools like Meta AI, like ChatGPT, what is prompt engineering? You know, create a crash course for me and teach me. Once you understand that, you can then say, I'm a hairdresser. I sell, you know, Brazilian wigs.
I sell footballs. I run an event management company. Create a business plan for me. Putting the Nigerian context into consideration, simulate the challenges and risks, and create a 3-year plan, strategic plan for me. The AI tool, your WhatsApp, your Meta AI, will create something. It will ask you a question. Okay, this is good. What area of business do you operate in? So as a small business, you need to understand you already have these tools. There's also a website called, there's an AI for that. Look into that. There'll be so many tools you can find. Thank you.
Thank you for adding that. So I'm going to come back to you. And it has to do with looking at our environment in Nigeria and the African context. In your own opinion, do you think that we are just importing and use all the Geminis or the DeepSeek or what happens to our own local development? Because like everyone has agreed and said earlier, AI is garbage in, garbage out. If you don't put the right data, you don't get the right instinct. On a lighter note, I saw a picture yesterday on LinkedIn where somebody was interacting with an AI tool and he said, please let me check this mushroom. Is it poisonous? AI said, oh no. And then the next picture showed the person in the grave. AI came back and said, oh, sorry, I was wrong. But the harm is done already. So that's when it comes to when you feed it with the wrong data. Most of these platforms that we use that are common, that we all know the big names, most of them are not trained with your data, my data. They're trained with data that are not us, And yes, we are all humans, but our statistics are different. So in your opinion, do you think we are doing enough in local development? So not just adopting it, actually developing our own tools that are peculiar, that understand a place called Akbongbon. AI that understands Danfo, AI that understands area boys, that has been properly trained locally. Do you think we are doing well? And if not, what can we do?
Yeah, thank you. I'll give you a very personal example from yesterday. I went to a refinery. I'm not going to mention. I've never been there. I was blown away. And so I went with a friend who wanted me to come and give a second opinion. And I took the picture of a camera. He works in telco. So I took the picture of a camera. And he started telling me about the spec. Then I took the picture of the camera and the name of the refinery, one of the tankers. And then when the camera was opened, I also took that and then queried ChatGPT about it. He told me something before from an American perspective. Then when I localized it with data, which linked to what Yinka was sharing earlier, when I now localized it with the actual context, because this is not just a generic picture of this thermal camera that can go 1,000 miles and all that. But when it became contextual, suddenly you say, oh, sorry, I was wrong. Now, in terms of oil and gas refinery, theft, perimeter guarding and all that, it started giving me something very contextual. So you have to be very direct and contextual. Now, when you think about Nigeria, we talk about something called the AI tripod, where we need to be real to ourselves as Nigerians. AI or no AI, we still have power challenges. AI or no AI, converting Naira to dollar, we humble you. Yeah. So AI or no AI, you realize that we have strength of a young population. So the tripod is compute data, and what's the other one? There are 3 things. We normally, data, compute, and talent. Yes. So in Nigeria, the biggest, strength we have is the talent. And we have a lot of young people. So yes, we can build tools. And we're already building some of them. One of them, we brought to one of our events, Aproko Doctor, which is localized to, we all know MDoc. Aproko Doctor created this thing called I've forgotten the name. But it's contextual to Nigeria. So when you're asking about sicknesses, you don't just generalize malaria, because the malaria in Jamaica and the one in Nigeria, they are cousins, but they are not the same. So you need to understand that. But you also then begin to look at compute. If you're going to build AI, you need to be processed by certain GPUs. And when you finish, everybody, when you go home tonight or today, if you don't know about GPUs, just Google it or go on ChatGPT and just look at the price. That's all I want you to do. you understand that you become very humble. Because even Americans are struggling to be able to buy, GPUs. And in the Senate in the US, there was a hearing about the power need for AI. And some of the guys said America does not have enough power, for AI. So if America does not have enough power, so in Nigeria, all power belongs to God. So basically, we should understand that we need to keep to what we can do well. We have talent. Let's keep to talent. There are some tools being developed, but the reality is let's start from where we have the power.
Thank you very much.
So to just add on that, I like the way Dr. has put it. We can't fund the processing. It's way too expensive. We don't have the data center. We don't have enough power, but we have people. And that gives us a secondary utilization that really can maximize, which is what we call in AI transferred learning. Somebody has built a big model, but you take it now and add small additional programming on top to make it localized to your own context. And believe you me, that small transformation that you have done is very, in the market, people pay a lot for it. So if you take a big LLM and you bring it to Nigerian context and you thoroughly localize it, we will all pay for it. So that's what we can do. But to take on that big fight, I think we have bigger problems to go and solve first.
All right, thank you very much. There are two takeaways that has been shared I don't want to forget and that we must all go with. Number one, Dr. Dotun mentioned prompt engineering. Please carry your phone. Everybody, type, if you don't know, even if you know, we learn every day. What is prompt engineering? ChatGPT, DeepSeek, whatever you use, ask it to teach you prompt engineering. Because even if you have the best tool, so the way I explain it is, if I meet Dangote today and I have 10 minutes, what kind of question will I ask him? If I ask silly questions, what's the name of the designer of the clothes you are wearing, and what is that? I can use my 10 minutes to do that, to interact with him. But somebody can ask a more intelligent question in 5 minutes. How do I do this in business? How do I do that? And that can transform the person's life. The same person, the same number of minutes, but different results entirely. And it's the same with AI. So prompt engineering helps us to know what kind of question we ask. How do we use this tool effectively? So if you are not going with anything today, please go home with that and let us make sure that we are all learning this. Thank you. Mr. Maxwell, I'm coming back to you on so he has touched on the fact that we have the youth population of Nigeria is something some people sell outside a lot. Talking about the human part, one on the side of the people that can develop the tools and all of that. When, I can't remember, was during the presentation that mentioned the human-centered AI. We can't leave everything to AI. Because it is not, there are some things, I think you mentioned judgment, context, and there was one other thing. Were you the one that mentioned? And ethics. Judgment, context, and ethics. Those things cannot be handled by AI. How do we ensure when we are interacting, now we have gotten the prompt engineering right, we're engaging well. How do we ensure that the human part, the AI we are using is still kind of, whether we're developing or using anyway, is still human-centered? There's still that human part. When ChatGPT will tell you something, you say, bro, this thing is wrong, And you say, and most of the time, he will come and tell you, oh, sorry, and then he will give you something else when you are, I say, I'm saying this is not, give me this in this context. We say, oh, I'm sorry, that's not what I should have said. This is what I'm saying now. How do we ensure that we are not just handing over everything to AI without having that human-centeredness?
Okay, thank you very much. So let me start by saying that when you are using some of these AI tools, right, they hallucinate. They can give you some funny information, So you need to understand how to use them. Now, when you say how to use them, you have to understand, like he said, first of all, prompt engineering, garbage in, garbage out, right? And I'm going to throw this out. Take one prompt, throw it into 5 different tools. It will give you different responses. You'll be shocked, right? Now, there's something I always also tell people. When you want to execute a task, I want to create a report, give me some bullet points and all that, right? Now, at times, instead of you trying to think about all the key things that should be in that report, ask the tool to list out some of those things for you, right? It will always give you a more detailed prompt than what you'd have ever thought about, right? Now, when you get all this right and you understand how to prompt properly, then something happened 2 days ago. I was trying to get some information, and it was just giving me some fun response, and I knew that this is no. I said no, so I had to activate deep thinking feature, right? So that it was able to go back and think properly. I said no, this response is not right. I activated the deep thinking. I think it was Claude I was using, and then it gave me a better response. And I'm like, okay, this is it. So now AI doesn't take away creative thinking, right? The humans still have to do the thinking, and humans still have to learn how to be more creative. I'll tell you something interesting. A banker using an AI tool is going to be far better than a software developer trying to build a banking tool. I'll take that again.
Please take it again.
A banker who is trying to use an AI tool would get better results using that tool because he is a subject matter expert in that space than a normal software developer who is trying to build a banking tool. Do you understand? So all I just see is subject matter experts still yet to bridge that gap and understand. But once we get that, and people understand how to use those tools and what to do, and that also goes to understanding the various models you can use, and also use some of the paid versions. When you pay for these things, you get better results. In Africa, we like the free world, right? And we don't seem to get the best, you know. So once we do that, we will begin to get the best from these tools, and it will begin to give us better results that we require, and it would help us get the desired results at the end of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, just to add one thing. The first thing is, one of my favorite topics to teach is prompt engineering. And when I take that course, the first thing I tell you is, AI does not help ignorant people. Please don't forget it. AI does not help ignorant people. If you don't know, because you should understand, the decision AI guides you to make is still your decision. So ethically, you will be held accountable for it. So if you will be held accountable for it, you need to know enough to know that the AI that is talking to you, his head is correct, or he has entered what we call a loop of death, and he's just telling you nonsense. So you have to know something. AI does not help ignorant people. Please.
Can I just add something? And I just want to make it 30 seconds. Prompt engineering is a topic, but imagine you go to Yakoyo and Abula joints, and you say, oh, give me amala. They'll give you amala. So, do you want meat? Are you vegetarian? So it's when you're using a tool, you need to put context. As a, as a cleaning company owner who is cleaning a highly regulated business who has to do X, Y, Z. So you give those prompts in different lines. When you get the output, it's perfect because you have told it the context, the country, what you are looking to achieve. When you see that result, otherwise, it will just serve you. You go into a restaurant and say, give me food. They will give you food. It might be food from yesterday, but it's food.
Thank you very much. We have to start wrapping up things. Sometimes when you are doing this, you don't know that time has actually, time is running. So if you have questions, we'd like to quickly take it, but please, straight to the point. No story. We understand we all have stories. Straight to the point if you have your questions. So please, if you have any question for the panelists, can you please raise up your hand quickly? Maybe able to take one or two or maybe three. Please come forward quickly. Please. Yes, madam, please. Thank you. Please, any other person, okay? We can take one more. So we take three. Any other person? So we take your question. Okay. Yes, thank you.
So good morning, everyone. Sorry, my apologies. Good afternoon. I wanted to find out from AI Nigeria if you had plans to build a local AI tool for Nigeria? Why do we always depend on foreign technologies and applications? Why can't we have our own? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's take the second question so that we answer them together.
So that's for Mr. Dotun Adeoye's team. Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. Israel Kizito. I came in from Niger State. It says Nigeria reality. So I would just like to bring our reality from northern Nigeria. It's unlike what we have here in Lagos, because the first barrier you encounter in northern Nigeria is a language barrier. And so one of the ways we've been able to break it is using things like OpenClaw. Thank God OpenClaw has a very large language model in terms of Hausa. So funny enough, even it's better to use Hausa on OpenClaw than Igbo, Yoruba, or any other language, because we're dealing with retailers now. That's the question I want to ask. The largest people in the business space in northern Nigeria are retailers. They are the market women on the streets. Now, how do we get to bridge the gap between the average market women who don't even have mobile devices per se, and we are getting to teach them AI prompting, and we are trying to encourage them to make use of AI? How do we even get to bridge that gap? Is it a government problem? Is it going to be a government and private policy, private individuals coming together? How do we bridge that gap? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that question, and thank you for coming all the way and for bringing, a different perspective to the conversation we are having. Like I tell people, Lagos is not Nigeria, so thank you for coming all the way. All
so
right.
Thank you, Ma, for that question. So the challenges of building an LLM is huge, but we can layer on what has been built and contextualize for Nigeria. But currently there is NAtlas, which was built by Awari and with the Ministry of Digital Economy. There's some work being done on that, which is very contextualized to Nigeria. You also have a tool called YanGPT by Sahid, which basically I've used it and it's quite good. You can use it to output. So if you want to do voiceover, if you want to do translation, a few things. It's really Nigerianized, and it's a truly Nigerian accent you get if you're trying to do things. It's one of the few, because you go on some of these Western tools, they say it's Nigerian accent and it's South African or Kenyan, and I'm saying, I'm a Lagos boy, as you know now. So YanGPT, I would say, check it out. YanGPT, like Yan, Y-A-R-N, YanGPT.ai,
AI can solve that problem. That's what you have to go with an angle to. AI is a value creation technology. If you focus on the value, there will be adoption. I'll have said go to government, but my experience is government will start with policy, with time, and you are a business. You get it? So I did a research with this market, Mile 12 or Mile 2, the one where they sell food, Mile 12. And I learned a lot in that research. Those guys are so organized, so structured. Their data is not bad. I'm sorry. I was shocked. They know what they make per week. As we are going to each other, I tell this one we make, I won't say the amount. Even me, I tell, what am I doing in this IT? People are just making money. But the point I'm trying to make is we gave them a business context and they were willing to engage. So go to these women. What's their biggest business problem? What is their biggest obstacle? What did they need to grow their business? You ask them those business generating questions. That's what we lead. You now come with how AI will come in. But AI by itself, which is not even peculiar to the market, even to us here, if you're adopting AI for the sake of AI, I say you are doing a technology trio. You don't want to be high. If your AI is not solving a real business problem, either saving money, making money, improving customer experience, one way or the other, shortening turnaround time, that AI is just, you are just in the university.
Thank you very much. We have one question from somebody we must take.
Yes, we must take. It's a privilege for you to have a leader here at SCCI, Engineer Ajeolu Maduka. Please, let's put hands together for her. She's an honorary life vice president here at the chamber. I like to also add, she's on moving very fast to our ninth floor. I like to always say that whenever she's around. Mommy, thank you, ma.
Thanks. Thanks very much. Now, this is asking a question from an illiterate point of view. So I would like, when you are working on your computer, your laptop, how do you get AI? Because there are times when I'm going through a report and something just jumps in and says GPT. I say, what's this about GPT? So is it that we download the app or we get it from, I don't know how. So we need that so that all of us, I'm sure there are so many ignorant people like me in this room today, and that's why I've come actually. So how do you introduce it to us? How do we get it on our system? All the things we've been saying are quite okay, but where do we go from here? And if I say, as I said, it says, sometimes it says, don't believe everything you read here on GPT. So AI, GPT, all these things, I believe are after my time, but I'll try. Thanks very much.
Thank you, man. So I think one of us will help solve our concern. But I want to think our immediate past president had a comment. I want to believe so. Sir, your comment, sir.
Sunday has asked me to speak. Essentially to thank the team. I was just speaking to you to say that the large number of the people in this room are SMEs. And for them, a couple of these things are slightly above their heads, but you are now bringing it down. Policy framework, a governance process. Some of these things, if you are 2 or 3 people that own a company, to have this a committee for corporate governance and structures and so on. But I think we are getting it, and I think that's the message that is coming out, that no matter how small we are, we may not have a 5-person AI committee, but somehow we can be a one-man committee of ourselves and get some of these things done. So I thank you from that perspective, that people are beginning to see and particularly enjoy the concept that AI is not the thing, it's the business that we need to understand and find how AI helps. Because a lot of us are trying to study AI like a project, like a business project for which we will get a HND or a BSc to study AI as a subject matter, rather than see how it helps our business. So I just want to thank everyone, and particularly I came, of course, because these 2 guys were the head of Telecom and the head of the Young Business Group, Biodun. I'm so excited that we are getting these sectoral groups working the way they are supposed to work, and it's beginning to show from the results we are getting. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Maybe just a comment to what Mommy said about what do you do, how to get all of this when it prompts up on our phone and on our laptop and all. And we're going to call it a day on this point.
Okay, so thank you very much, Ma. So for that, every tool, whatever tool you're using, whether it is ChatGPT, Claude, whatever tool you're using, yes, it's something that you have to download. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to use a laptop. You can use your phone. You can use your tablet. It's something that you have to download. And then some tools as well have AI embedded in them. For example, I think we mentioned Meta AI. So Meta AI is part of your WhatsApp already. So it's something that is already there. It's just for you to go to that part of your WhatsApp and use it. So yes, that is how you'd start using. I hope that answers your question.
Yes. So in addition to what she said, I would be happy, as many people fall into her shoes who don't know what to do. As far as they're available for a virtual session for free, I'll find 2-3 hours next week, right, to take them through a virtual session next week. I'm not charging anything. By the way, since January, I have trained almost 4,000 Africans from 5 countries for free, by the way. So I'll be glad to help anybody. They can collect that data. I'll just take 2-3 hours next week. Just introduce you to those basic tools like live demonstration, and you can take it up from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. We're very grateful.
10 seconds to respond to the, I think the last. You can still govern AI as a one-man company by ensuring that you have it clearly mapped out, what you will do, what you will not do. It doesn't need to be as grand as if it's a 500 or 1,000 man company. So the most important thing is to know the do's and don'ts. Just like if you're going to use gas, you know that when, if you're using a gas to cook, when you are going to sleep, when you leave, when you finish cooking, you turn it off. These are simple safety regulations and things like that, which doesn't need to be as detailed as if it was a large company. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So as we begin to wrap up the session, I would just like us to take turns to just, talk about, your closing remark, if there's any one-liner. And then in addition to that, where do you see this AI in Nigeria in the next 5 years? And then your one-liner, what should people go home with? So we can take turns to just do that. So let's start from you.
I'll still repeat my initial statement. Just 3. 1, AI is data with swag. You don't have the data, your AI might not be right. Number 2, AI does not help ignorant people. Because if you are totally clueless about the matter, if the AI is hallucinating, you will take it as gospel truth. Number 3 is be careful. You may be burning your house. I heard someone says they upload data. So I do a lot of that in the office. But before we upload data, if it's customer data, the first thing you must do is anonymize. Remove first name, last name, email, phone number, house address. You must learn. I know we talk about ethics in a very grand way, but there are simple things you can do. If you are going to put the data out there, anonymize, so that if anybody sees it, they don't know who it's for. So that way you are safe. Don't burn your own house.
Okay, so I would speak to applying it as SMEs, especially starting from what we talked about in the data that you use in the first place. I would say you should try to make it as practical as possible. It's not that complicated in collating your own data. Even if it's something as little as, start from somewhere, even if it's something as little as customer complaints. If you were using Excel, for example, to put together customer complaints and you're categorizing them to say that, okay, these complaints are applying to late deliveries, or these complaints are applying to the time it takes for someone to reply me as a customer. So that alone, you're making it very practical or straightforward in how you're collating that kind of data. So start from somewhere in putting your data together, because in the end, it is very, very important, just so like we've said, how it is for the importance that data brings to how your AI is going to be affected for you. And lastly, is still, for me, I would also mention understanding your business, understanding the uniqueness of your business, understanding the uniqueness of your market before applying AI to whatever stage your business is in.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would quickly speak to re-emphasizing understanding how to use prompts, because it's critical to leveraging AI, So like someone said, when you go home today, ask the tool to teach you about prompt engineering, basic things. Take time to learn, understand. There is so much you can get from these tools that would make your life a lot easier. AI is here to stay, it's not going anywhere, right? And doing these things, I'm sure that you will find your business growing from one level to another. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Imagine there's a football match and there's no goalpost. What will happen? You know, there's no, it doesn't make sense. So we've all turned up here today because we are interested in AI. So one of the key things you can do when you get home is tell your, LLM chatbots, be it Meta AI, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Claude, whatever it is, create a 4-week training program for me on XYZ. What is the business goal that you have? It will create it, and you need to fine-tune it. You need to tell it what you are doing, what your goal is, what you are trying to achieve, the country where you are operating. That is where prompt still comes in. And then I'll go to the second thing. When I kind of sort of ran through the many slides I had for governance, I didn't cover a lot of things, but one thing I want to put out, irrespective of the size of your business, whether it's you and I or yourself, or you have 1 million people, 1,000 people, or 10 people, you need to understand that AI can make or break you. So it's about understanding that there are certain principles you need to follow. Following the same thing that I said, you can go on one of these LLM chatbots like ChatGPT or Meta AI, just tell it what you do and just say, okay, give me examples of AI governance or AI policies, AI guidance document, and contextualize for a farmer, for a pharmacist, for a teacher, for a music teacher, whatever. You will have it. And at the end, tell it to fact check so that it's not hallucinating. And finally, I will say that AI is not this airy-fairy genie somewhere. AI has been with us. If you use YouTube, Netflix, WhatsApp, Instagram, you've been using AI for a long time. Smartphone, you are using AI. So it is here, it's living with us, it's not going anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being an amazing audience. Please, let's put our hands together for ourselves. So AI has come to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get better. I hope that you have you are taking 1 or 2 things home. Thank you so much. Thank you to all our panelists for all your contribution this afternoon. And again, thank you for our audience. On this note, we come to the end of the panel session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our panelists. Francis, please come. Let's do this picture. Okay. Francis? So let's do this. Then we have the plaques presented to them. Please, Augusta, can we please have their presentations? Can we please have the plaques? Or Jegede, please, can we have the... Please, can we have the plaques, please? Are we good? So please, just be seated. I'll call you one after the other. We'll move down to have the plaques, then we'll then come together again to take the final picture. So it's an honor for me to bring up the Deputy President of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry to make this presentation. Alongside the Director General of the Chamber, as we present this little token to our panelists and the moderator, I hope. Please let me have it one by one. Mr. Deputy President, sir. First on the list is Mr. Maxwell Ado, Steering Committee Member, WET Tech Global WET Forum. Can we please put your hands together for Mr. Ado? Yes, sir. In the middle, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next, Adenyinka Aderombi. Let's put that together for Miss Adenyinka, please.
We have training rooms for seminars, for conferences, and we also have digital.
The representative of Raganat should please get ready. Yes, sir. Let's put hands together for him, please. Mr. Dotun, representing Raganat. Yes.
This is a one-stop center for small businesses, not just small businesses. Even as an entrepreneur or your business owner, you are thinking of reducing costs, you are thinking of business networking, you are thinking of accessibility to other.
Please, can I have his own?
You can come together and share ideas. This is
Yes,
a
Mr.
facility
Dotun
that you
Adeoye.
can leverage on and take your business to the next level. Welcome to LCCI BOI Innovation Hall.
Adaku and Inem, please let's put it down together for Adaku. Thank you. Are we good? All right, thank you. Adaku, so you can just hold on. Please, other panelists, please, let's join, and the moderator to take the final picture with the leadership of the chamber. Madam DG, do you quickly want to do it, sir? The immediate past president of the chamber, sir. The two chair of the groups, please, let's join. We have the past president here, yes. Sorry, sir. Oh, yeah. I'm looking at, oh, yeah. Yes. Thank you so much. Are we good? Very well. Thank you so much. So let's all right. We are gradually coming to the end of this all-important business meeting today. To give us a vote of thanks is none other than Mrs. Roslyn Ilori. Please, once again, let's put hands together for Roslyn Ilori as she comes up for the vote of thanks. We are not clapping. Don't worry, after our vote of thanks, we can begin to devolve those things that were dropped on our table some minutes ago. And if it's not on your table, just relax. They will bring your own small shops to your table. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sunday. What can I say? On behalf of the ICT Sectorial Group and the Young Business Leaders Group, I would like to say a very big thank you. The first thank you goes to the president, who is not physically here, but I believe he's here with us in the spirit. Excuse me. Our past president, the DG, the live member, engineer Mrs. Deolu Maduka. And please forgive me if I don't mention all the names, but thank you so much for every the leadership of LCCI, every members of LCCI, and everyone that is here today. Because if we have put this together and you decide not to show up, we'll not be speaking to an empty room. So thank you for not allowing us to speak to an empty room this afternoon. Thank you so much. So we look forward to seeing you on other events that we are going to be having. Thank you and good afternoon.
All right, thank you so much. Just to say that we'll take a closing prayer now, but the event is not over, even though we can be coming to an end thereafter. We are going to have the networking session. You can relate with your neighbor seated beside you in the hall. Please, can I please urge that we upstanding, please be upstanding as we take the national anthem for a close, as we do when we started, as we did when we began.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland.
Thank you so much. Please, while the networking session continues, be mindful of your phone. They are called your personal belongings. Please hold them personally. Your iPen, iPhone, anything that is high with you, please keep them so. Thank you so much.